Kingdom of Pushpanagaram. The kingdom of Pushpanagaram was a prosperous and magnificent land, blessed with great wealth and filled with happy, peaceful people. One day, King Ramchandran of Pushpanagaram announced an open wrestling competition. The challenge was open to anyone brave enough to compete against the powerful soldiers of the Pushpanagaram army. As the competition began, a young man named Dheeraj entered the arena. He was only 20 years old, but his confidence and determination immediately caught everyone's attention. Dheeraj faced the soldiers one after another. Each opponent was stronger and more experienced than the last, but Dheeraj fought with remarkable skill and courage. To everyone's surprise, he defeated almost every soldier who challenged him. The crowd was astonished. People began cheering and chanting his name. Dheeraj, Dheeraj, Dheeraj. King Ramchandran watched the young man with great surprise. Turning to the commander of his army, he asked, "Who is this brave young man?" The commander smiled with pride and replied, "My lord, he is the son of Vaman, one of our loyal soldiers." In the end, Dheeraj remained undefeated and emerged as the champion of the competition. The king invited him onto the royal stage and proudly announced to the people, "Today, our kingdom has discovered a brave and talented warrior. Dheeraj will be a great addition to the army of Pushpanagaram." The crowd erupted in celebration. However, Dheeraj did not appear as happy as everyone expected. Although he was honored by the king's words, he had no interest in joining the army at that time. With respect, Dheeraj politely refused the king's offer. King Ramchandran smiled kindly and said, "No worries, my dear. Join the army whenever you feel ready. The gates of the palace will always remain open for you." Dheeraj gratefully accepted the king's words and smiled. Then, Princess Mitra stepped forward to present the champion's prize. As Dheeraj received the reward from her, he saw the princess from a very close distance for the first time. For a moment, he was completely surprised and captivated by her presence. A few months passed, but Dheeraj could not stop thinking about Princess Mitra. He often remembered the moment when she had presented him with the prize. He wished to see her again. One day, while Dheeraj was walking through the village, a man passed by and greeted him. "How are you, wrestling champion?" Suddenly, Dheeraj remembered the words King Ramchandran had spoken to him during the competition. "Join the army whenever you feel ready. The gates of the palace will always remain open for you." At that moment, an idea came to his mind. The army's training grounds were inside the royal palace, the same place where Princess Mitra lived. If he joined the army, he would have a chance to see her again. Dheeraj decided that he was finally ready to become a soldier. He shared his decision with his father, Vaman, and his mother. Both of them were happy and proud of his choice. They blessed him and gave him their full support. The next morning, Vaman took Dheeraj to the royal palace to meet the commander of the army. As they entered the palace, Vaman introduced his son to the different sections of the palace. He explained the entrances, the rules of the royal grounds, and the proper handling of weapons. However, Dheeraj's attention was elsewhere. While his father explained everything, Dheeraj's eyes searched every corner of the palace, hoping to catch a glimpse of Princess Mitra. Dheeraj enters the royal palace. Vaman introduced Dheeraj to the commander of the army. The commander welcomed him with great joy. "Come with me," he said. "Let us meet the king. He will be just as happy as I am to hear that you have decided to join the army." Together, they walked into the royal court. As soon as Dheeraj entered, he saw Princess Mitra seated beside King Ramchandran. His heart filled with happiness. Dheeraj was delighted to see the princess again, and for a moment, he could not take his eyes away from her. The commander stepped forward and bowed before the king. "Your Majesty, the brave young champion has finally decided to join our army." King Ramchandran smiled with joy. "Wonderful. That is an excellent decision, my dear," the king said. He then turned to the commander and ordered, "Give Dheeraj the finest training. I want him to become one of the greatest soldiers in the army of Pushpanagaram." The commander respectfully bowed and replied, "As you wish, Your Highness. I will train this young man and help him become a great and courageous soldier." Dheeraj's face was filled with joy. Although he was excited to begin his training, he was even happier because he had seen Princess Mitra again. King Ramchandran looked at Dheeraj and smiled. "I know that you are capable of achieving great things. I can see happiness, determination, and curiosity in your eyes." After receiving the king's blessings, Dheeraj, Vaman, and the commander returned to the training grounds. There, Vaman and the commander introduced Dheeraj to the soldiers of the Pushpanagaram army. From that day onward, Dheeraj began his journey, not only to become a great warrior but also to discover what destiny had planned for him within the royal palace. Days passed within the royal palace, and Dheeraj continued to improve in every aspect of his training. Following King Ramchandran's orders and the commander's guidance, he mastered various forms of combat and became highly skilled in handling different weapons. Day by day, Dheeraj grew into one of the finest soldiers in the Pushpanagaram army. However, whenever he saw Princess Mitra, his heart felt lighter. As he had hoped, joining the army gave him many opportunities to see her within the palace. Yet, despite meeting her several times, he never found a moment when they were alone, a moment in which he could express the feelings he had kept hidden in his heart. Within 6 months of training, Dheeraj became fully prepared to serve in the royal army. His strength, discipline, and exceptional skills earned him a place among the best soldiers of Pushpanagaram. The commander regularly updated King Ramchandran about Dheeraj's training and achievements. Impressed by his progress, the king invited Dheeraj to meet him privately. Dheeraj entered the royal court and respectfully bowed before the king. King Ramchandran smiled warmly and blessed him. Dheeraj, I have known your father since my childhood. He has always been one of the finest soldiers in our army and one of the most loyal servants of Pushpanagaram. I expected you to carry forward his talent, and perhaps even rise beyond it. Dheeraj bowed his head and replied, As you wish, your majesty. I will do my best to fulfill your expectations. The king nodded with satisfaction. You must now learn every process within the army and understand all the duties and responsibilities of a royal soldier. From today onward, you will serve in every important division and gain experience in all areas of duty. Dheeraj respectfully replied, Certainly, Your Highness. After receiving the king's blessings, Dheeraj left the royal court. From that day onward, Dheeraj began performing different duties throughout the kingdom. He guarded the palace walls, served in the watchtowers, escorted the king and the royal family, and took turns guarding the royal prison. One afternoon, Dheeraj was having lunch in the palace dining area when one of his father's old friends approached him. May I sit here? The man asked. Dheeraj smiled and replied, Of course. Please have a seat. The man looked at Dheeraj for a moment and smiled with pride. It makes me very happy to see the next generation becoming even better than us. Then, lowering his voice, he added, But remember one thing. You must remain extremely vigilant whenever you are sent near the eastern mountains. Dheeraj looked at him with curiosity. Why? What is so dangerous there? The man looked around carefully before answering. Yes, it is dangerous. There are people living beyond the eastern mountains. They do not belong to any kingdom or country. They live separately, like an independent tribal community. He paused for a moment. However, no one truly understands why they hold such deep hatred toward Pushpanagaram. They claim that our royal family stole something valuable from their land and killed their king. Dheeraj was surprised. Is that true? Then why are you speaking so quietly? No one has ever told me about this, not even my father. The man's expression became serious. No one will speak openly about it. Discussing the eastern mountains and the people who live there is strictly prohibited in Pushpanagaram. The entire matter remains a mystery. No one knows what truly happened, except the king and the royal family. After saying this, the man quietly left the dining area. Dheeraj remained seated, lost in thought. The mysterious story of the eastern mountains filled his mind with curiosity. A few days later, Princess Mitra prepared to leave the palace for a hunting expedition in the forest. The commander summoned Dheeraj and gave him an important order. Dheeraj, you will accompany Princess Mitra and ensure her safety throughout the journey. Dheeraj was delighted to receive the assignment. He was chosen to drive the princess's royal bullock cart, while a troop of 3 additional soldiers accompanied them as guards. Soon, the royal group departed from the palace and traveled toward the forest. After entering deep into the forest, the soldiers noticed movement among the trees. Believing that an animal might be nearby, they stopped the cart and waited silently. The soldiers prepared their bows and carefully aimed toward the area where the movement had been detected. At that moment, the other soldiers stood at a distance, guarding the surroundings. Dheeraj and Princess Mitra were the only ones standing close to each other. Dheeraj felt that this might finally be the right moment to reveal the feelings he had kept hidden for so long. Slowly, he moved closer to the princess. Before he could say anything, Princess Mitra spoke softly. Dheeraj, do you know something? Dheeraj looked at her. In many animal species, the male tries hard to attract the female. But the female can understand his feelings within a very short time. She paused and smiled shyly. If even animals can understand such feelings so quickly, how long do you think it takes for humans to understand them? Dheeraj looked into her eyes. The princess smiled gently as she watched the shy expression on his face. Dheeraj smiled as well, unable to hide his happiness. Neither of them spoke another word, but they both understood what the other was trying to say. From that moment, a new chapter began in their lives. After that day, Princess Mitra began going on hunting expeditions more frequently. Whenever she planned a journey into the forest, she personally requested Dheeraj to accompany her as her royal escort. Their meetings gradually became more frequent. Soon, whenever the princess traveled anywhere outside the palace, she would ask for Dheeraj to accompany her. As time passed, their bond grew stronger. However, their growing closeness did not go unnoticed. One day, Vaman began to suspect that something was happening between his son and the princess. Quietly, he followed them. From a distance, Vaman saw Dheeraj and Princess Mitra sitting beside each other in a peaceful part of the palace gardens. Their hands were gently joined as they spoke and spent time together. Vaman stood silently and watched them. The moment filled him with both surprise and concern. He now understood that his son had fallen in love with Princess Mitra.